Initially, we started with this subject as how to irrigate the land and seeking irrigation in the area. And now we are looking at that what are the problems of irrigation. So today we are going to discuss one of the biggest ill effect of irrigation. This is not solely, completely an kind of side effect of irrigation, but maybe like many other factors also affecting waterlogging. We'll understand what waterlogging is, but today we are trying to understand because since we are studying the irrigation engineering, we are connecting this particular topic of waterlogging with the irrigation engineering. Otherwise, there may be a few more reasons for waterlogging and salinity problem in the soil, agricultural soil. I'll show you different ideas, different views, different data, facts about the waterlogging and the irrigation and agriculture in India. But the irony of thing is that when we provide one thing, then the second thing happens because of the one facility created. Service examination, in the civil services examination, there are lot many questions asked about the waterlogging and the ill effects of irrigation. So you could also look at from that angle that many MCQs you will get ready with if you remember all the facts here. So waterlogging, basically, let's go with kind of this understanding here. What is waterlogging? You could understand that from one definition from this sketch given, this picture given onto the right side, that what is waterlogging. Waterlogging, mostly in general layman's description, waterlogging means accumulation of water onto the surface of earth in low-lying areas specifically. But since we are civil engineers, we do not describe this waterlogging as accumulation of water on the surface of earth. Even it is not onto the surface. If it's entering into the vadose zone, this root zone of the crop or say orchard trees, if the water table is encroaching into the root zone, then it will create a kind of a reduced production from the irrigated land mass. So that is also called waterlogging. So first is that definition, the phenomena of rising of water table. Here in this sketch, you could see that the line here, this drawn here is the water table, below which all the formation or the soil is saturated, and this is capillary fringe rise. This is capillary rise, and above it is the root zone, 1 to 1.5 meter of the top soil, or the soil in which we grow the crops and the trees. So mostly the root zone is in this area, and if the water is going up into this root zone, then the growth of this tree or crop will be affected because of increase of this enhanced increased water table. So the phenomena of rising of water table is known as waterlogging if ingressing into the root zone. So that is first irrigation problem. Second, the waterlogging, in other words, we can say the soil whose surface layer are saturated with water. The soil whose surface layer are saturated with water is called as waterlogging or waterlogged soil. Like here, if there is lot of water onto the surface of soil because of some rainfall, heavy rainfall, and it remains waterlogged for say 30 days, 60 days, 90 days, and so on, like marshy land. Many there are like Nal Sarovar area, it remains waterlogged for whole year. So these are wetlands, we call them wetlands, but there is water. This land cannot be used for irrigation, cannot be used for constructional purpose. If you construct even if road, then it will get deteriorated within a year or so. So this is a problem for civil engineer, that what this land mass or the soil or the for earth surface should not be waterlogged. Even the root zone should not be waterlogged. So from irrigation point of view, we say that even if water is ingressing into root zone from the down water table, then too it's a kind of waterlogging. What happens when there is waterlogging? So such things happen that waterlogging causes yellowing of the leaves. You could see here that the leaves are getting being yellowish. Stunted growth means growth is hindered. Small and shallow root system. The root system won't go down. Also, particularly nitrogen deficiency causes yellowing of the leaves in winter. So that is what happening here into this. You could see here that excess water is there, and the production, if you go for a kind of crop here, then you won't get that much per hectare production as in the normal irrigated land. This is also one of the kind of waterlogged area. Waterlogging presents the situation whereby the underground water comes onto the surface or into the root zone of land, and in certain cases it gathers on the ground level of the land. It assumes the shape of streams. So it's like a stream. It's like a kind of water flowing onto the surface, but it is the water which has come out from the water table. So this is another situation of waterlogging. So waterlogging is accumulation of water, maybe onto the surface or maybe into the root zone, and which is hindering the constructional activities or the crop growing agricultural activities. So in irrigation engineering, we say that it hinders the agricultural activities, hinders or it reduces the production, crop production per hectare in the farmland. So looking at this scenario, we could define the irrigation in two ways, that when the shallow water table rises to such an extent that soil pores in the root zone of a crop becomes saturated. Those pores has become saturated and resulting in restriction of the normal circulation of air, because the crop and tree then require oxygen and carbon dioxide, particularly oxygen. So in that root zone, in the soil pores, oxygen and CO2 is not present and free circulation of air is not there, then their growth is hindered, and reduced growth causes reduced production. So this is first definition of the waterlogging. The second is when the surplus water stagnates due to the poor drainage on the surface. On the surface, if there is a farm, sorry, if there is a farm and there is a rainfall, and this rain automatically, if cannot drain out, excess water, if cannot drain out of the field or your farm, then we say that that particular farm is having a very poor drainage, and stagnant water, that stagnant water, surplus water causes hindered growth of the crop. So that is also the poor drainage of the soil, of the earth itself, causing the flooding or the waterlogging of the area. So there are two definitions here. One is because of the over irrigation, water table is rising. And second is that when there is a storm or a rainfall event, then the stagnation because of the poor drainage causing the logging, water logging, and that hinders the growth of crop. Now, and look at this scenario. This is a beautiful slide here, in which many facts are mentioned here, and we need to understand that how it works and how it is really hampering the growth of irrigation facilities in India. So if I look at the geographical area, then it is a 328 million hectare. This is million hectare. If in square kilometer you want this information, then it becomes 3.28 square kilometers. So million hectare, I'm taking the all units in million hectare, 328, out of which is the 140 is the agricultural land. You look at less than half, only 43% of the geographical area of India is having agricultural land where you could do agricultural activities, means you could grow crop and trees, etc. Rest of the land is under the road network or buildings or land which is not at all suitable for the agricultural activities. So that is more than 50%. So 140 million hectare. Out of this 140 million hectare, 68 million hectare is irrigated land. Means what? We do not have irrigation facility in all the land which is available for agriculture. We are having only 49% of the agricultural land. You see here in this column that 49% of the agricultural land is only irrigated. Rest of the 51% is rain-fed. When agricultural land is not irrigated, then that is called rain-fed, because rain only feed the water to the crops. So that you understand that we have two types of agricultural land. One is irrigated land and second is rain-fed. So rain-fed is more 51% almost, and the rest of 68 million hectare, which accounts 49% of the agricultural land, is the irrigated. Now look at this last row, that is water area. We have 2.04 million hectare of this irrigated land. 2.04 million hectare of the land is waterlogged, which is 4% of the irrigated land. 68%, 10% becomes the almost 7 million hectare, and this is 2.04. So it is about 4% of the irrigated land. So whatever is the land we are irrigating, out of which almost 4% is waterlogged, means we are having reduced productivity in those areas. Now, for the sake of productivity, I have mentioned this data also, that production per hectare, productivity of the land per hectare is 2.8 ton per hectare in irrigated area. Whereas in rain-fed area, we have average 1.1 ton per hectare. But in waterlogged area, it may reduce to 0 to 1 ton per hectare. Means even we are getting lesser than the rain-fed area in the waterlogged area. Waterlogged area is basically become a nuisance, a mosquito breeding sites and ugly sites where person cannot go, the farmers cannot grow crops, etc. So that is a bad situation. So any land mass, any land area, earth surface should not be waterlogged. Waterlogged is a undesirable situation. So how it happens, I'll show you in next slides. But before that, let's understand few more things here. This particular slide shows you that the kind of severity of waterlogging in different states. For the sake of this all total, this extent of waterlogged area in lakh hectares, in million hectare, if you want to convert, then you increase one more zero. So you could take decimal here, 0.339 is million hectare. Okay, so you could compare lakh hectare, because here million is becoming a little larger. So the unit taken is lakh hectares. Million hectare, only take decimal 1 to the left. So this 21 million hectare, lakh hectare will become 2.18 million hectares. So which states are there? You look at West Bengal is the worst hit among these. Uttar Pradesh, then Punjab. This is total waterlogged area, because Punjab is a small state geographically. So this is 1 million hectare of land. This is 2 million. Uttar Pradesh, West Bengal. So most of the part through which Yamuna and Ganga area and its command area falls, they are waterlogged. Why? Because they have been developed in early 19th century as potential, most of the areas irrigated areas, and irrigation is being practiced since last 150 years in these states. Rest of the states have grown up in the irrigation as time passes, and if you look at Gujarat, this is not that dominant. Only 4 lakh hectare land, and out of which irrigation, this is the amount where the area, the waterlogged area falling into the irrigated commands. Irrigated commands means where irrigation is being done. Water is being sent through canals and distributary and field channels. So that area. So this area is not that big in Gujarat. So in Gujarat, we should not much bothered. But if we do not understand this situation, if we go for uncontrolled irrigation, then the same situation which has happened to Punjab and West Bengal and Uttar Pradesh may happen to Gujarat state also. So this is a kind of preventive measure that we build the capacity of the skilled manpower in the state, that we should not subject to waterlogging of our land. Now we are introducing different parts of the waterlogging. Earlier we have seen the definition, and we have seen the facts and facts and different parts. And now let's understand how it become, what is the waterlogging. So understand this, that in agriculture, various crops need air, which we have seen earlier also, to a greater or lesser depth in soil. Waterlogging of this soil stop air getting into it. So that is what I have shown earlier also. And the second, in irrigated agricultural land, waterlogging is often accompanied by soil salinity. Waterlogging and soil salinity, these are almost parallel phenomena, because when the soil is waterlogged, then salinity will come because of the evaporation of the waterlogged area. So this is the second part, which is becoming a nuisance for us. First is that the water is preventing free circulation of air. Second, the waterlogged area, because of the waterlogging, when water evaporates, then soil becomes saline. Salt gets deposited onto the surface of soil. So that is the second problem, parallel problem arising out of the waterlogging. So when we are discussing waterlogging, we are also discussing the soil salinity or the problems because of the waterlogging. Could you see this slide? This slide must be visible to you. Yes, sir? Okay. So now we will take one by one the causes of waterlogging, and we need to understand. And when you become full engineer, and suppose you are in charge of some irrigation scheme, then one factor you need to take care that this situation should not arise because of the engineering actions. There may be other reasons for the waterlogging, but when we design, we should not design a faulty structure. We should not create nuisance to the villages, towns falling into the commands of irrigation project. So that is what is the intention of irrigation engineering and waterlogging to the civil engineers, that we build structures, and our structures, even if it is a canal, should not cause a kind of waterlogging. This is really a nuisance even to the villages. Tens and hundreds of villages are getting subjected to waterlogging, and they are suffering not only because of the waterlogging, water is spreading onto the surface, but the diseases, the kind of diseases spreading out of this situation. So that is also a big trouble. So first cause of waterlogging is the seepage of water from the canal system. This is a big thing, and mainly responsible for waterlogging. in earlier days, most of the canals, I have shown you, I have placed here a picture of the Narmada Canal onto the screen, where the both banks you look at are the concrete lined canal. This is a canal which is lined with concrete material. This is RCC material, and all through 400-kilometer long canal is like this. So there are least chances that water is seeping into the ground through this. But in earlier days, all the canals were not lined either, or they were lined with the brick and mortar. So once the mortar joint comes out, water gets ingressed into the soil. It seeps directly. So what happened to the Rajasthan Canal? What happened to the Rajasthan Canal, which comes from the Bhakra, runs through the Punjab, few districts of Punjab, and then enter into Rajasthan. So most of these area, the line Rajasthan Canal was brick lined canal. And if mortar is not good quality, even if it is of good quality, in long run, say in 5-10 years of time, this mortar joint comes out and only bricks are there and water is seeping freely into the ground. And it caused havoc in the Punjab. This is real situation I'm telling, that this situation created havoc in Punjab, that the area falling on the sides of Rajasthan Canal were, most of the areas were waterlogged within 10-15 years of irrigation scheme when it started irrigating the land in that area. Second, there are kind of breaches. Farmers, if suppose here not getting sufficient water, then what they do, they break the lining. This lining is difficult to break. The RCC lining done here in the Narmada, difficult to break it. But if it is lining done with say bricks or tiles, or it is simply non-unlined canal, then canal breaches means when somebody break the section of the canal, then that also causes a lot of flooding, and in long run it becomes a waterlogged area. The second point, here the first point, engineers are responsible. The second point is poor surface runoff and slow drainage. That area is not suitable. Like if you go to this Nal Sarovar area, that area is such that it does not drain directly to the sea, but it is a low flat lying area. Whatever falls, water falls onto it, it remains there. So it become a wetland. It is, we do not call it as a waterlogged area, but it is a wetland. So wetland is a kind of depth of water is almost throughout the year you will find 3-4 feet or 5 feet of water there. So that those are the wetlands, the permanent water logging you could say. But the area which are not like inland area where agricultural land is available and agriculture is being practiced, then in the farm, because of the heavy rain, suppose water remains there for 15 days, then too the crop will die because of this heavy water accumulation onto the farm because of poor drainage. So farmers generally they level out their fields so that the excess water which is pouring during the monsoon season drains out automatically. But certain lands cannot be really done with this surface runoff and drainage. So that is also one of the major reason of the waterlogging. After the canal, the third is that interruption of the surface runoff. Naturally, the drainages are occurring on all the surface. If there is no drainage, then there would be a kind of pond or a lake formation. But since the development of roads and railway track and housing and many other man-made activities, what we do, we interrupt the natural drainage system. So by creating these structures, and then what happens that onto the both sides of the road or both sides of the railway track, you will find that there are ditches filled of water, and they in long run, say in 30 years, 20 years, that the surrounding area is not suitable for agriculture become waterlogged. In many areas, because of the climate change, excess rainfall takes place and flooding occurs frequently year-on-year basis. And this excess rainfall and flooding also could be a cause of the this waterlogging. And last point, very important point, I would say, the poor management of water by the farmers, by the government policies. Government policies are responsible that excess irrigation water is supplied to the farmers, or farmers are supplying more water to the crops than the requirement for say continuous 3-4 years. Then the land become unsuitable for the growth of crops. So you take care. This last point is also connected to the engineers. Now, once the land surface or the soil mass is waterlogged, what happens? That waterlogged area does not remain waterlogged throughout the year. It remains waterlogged when there is excess supply of water during monsoon or during the cycles of irrigation when crop is growing. When there is no crop, then water gets evaporated. Water gets evaporated. What is leaving behind is this kind of salt deposited onto the land surface, this kind of salt deposition onto the surface of earth. And this is nothing but this is causing salinity over the years. This is not 1 year phenomena. Over the years, if it happens, then there would be 2, 3, 4 inches of salt getting deposited onto the earth surface. So this salt deposition is one of the kind of problem for the crop growth, and how I will show you into next slide. If the concentration of harmful salts like this in the root zone of a plant increases to such an extent that plant growth is affected, this situation is called salinity. This situation is called salinity. When these salts are causing hindrance to the growth of plant onto the surface or onto the root zone, both, then this situation is called that the soil has become saline, or salinity is there in the soil. And this excess saline soil is not good. Excess saline soil is not good. Like excess fluoride in drinking water is not good. Up to limit is good. This is one more reasons. Soil salinity refers to presence of salts in root zone of soil. It adversely affects the growth of plants. General symptoms of salinity is retarded growth of plants, smaller plants with few leaves, that the leaves get reduced and plant won't grow to its real size. Dark green leaves than the normal. So that is what happens when there is a salinity problem because of the waterlogging. Salinity is the consequence of waterlogging. Now we are looking at salinity, how it happens and why it is creating trouble. So this slide would give you a kind of details about salinity, that how it happens, the factors contributing towards the problem of salinity are almost same as that of waterlogging. The waterlogging and salinity are synonym, you could say. Every agricultural soil has certain mineral salts, is also called alkali salts in it, like NaCl, Na2CO3, Na2SO4, etc. When these soluble alkali salts are in excess in soil and further groundwater table is very near to ground, these salts get mixed with groundwater, and with upward movement of water, not only accumulated in first 3 to 4 feet, which are root zone we call it, of the soil layer below ground surface, but also from deposited a thin 2 to 3 inches crust onto the surface. That is what happens when this waterlogging happens. Salinity causes two problems. One is the corrosive action to the plant, and then formation of alkali soil. The salinity, like a corrosive action, that it hinders the plant growth. Second, the salinity also make soil alkaline. So that is how it becomes. I show you in. I won't take much time, 5-7 minutes more, and I will conclude this. This is the complete information about waterlogging and salinity and alkalinity. So there are measures to control the salinity. One is the preventive measure. Second is curative. Preventive means before it occurs, and curative means after it has already occurred. So those kind of preventive measures, we can control irrigation. Irrigation, if too much done, then this causes waterlogging and salinity both. So we control irrigation, providing adequate surface drainage so that excess water gets drained, allowing lower intensity of irrigation, reducing surface evaporation. There is a kind of mulching process I would show you, that if we reduce the evaporation, then salinity will not occur. Not using alkaline water for irrigation purpose. Say water, if not suitable, if water is alkaline, pH value is higher, then it may cause salinity in the soil. So we should use the proper water. This last point is particularly problem when we are extracting the groundwater for irrigation. I tell you, most surface water are not alkaline. When we are switching to curative, means when the salinity has already occurred, that the soil has become alkaline, then how to treat it. So curative measures means the treatment given to the soil. So first is by leaching. First process is leaching, and second is chemical treatment, that is called mulching. So what is leaching? Leaching is a chemical process. Leaching is a chemical process wherein we flood the surface of earth where these salts have been deposited. Then we allow this water to trickle down, and by doing this, what we are doing, that we are diluting the salts and allowing water with salt to go down and reduce the salinity. So here 3 steps are written for the leaching, that providing adequate surface artificial drainage so that the diluted water with salts going out of the farm. So providing adequate subsurface artificial drainage, say laying the pipes or tiles below the surface. After 20 or 30 centimeter, we lay the tiles. Then leaching salts from the top 3-4 feet of the soil to groundwater table by flooding the land and growing salt-resistant crop like rice onto it. So this is a process of leaching, a simple process but expensive process, because this drainage is not simple in first process, and second, flooding all the time and leaving this for 1 year is detrimental to farmers. What happens while doing the chemical treatment in leaching is this. This is a kind of gypsum, mixing of gypsum into these salts which are deposited. This Na2CO3 is non-soluble salt. When we add gypsum to it, then it becomes soluble Na2SO4 with the water, and it goes down into drain, and you can take it out from the farm. So this is basically chemical reaction mentioned here, that we are adding CaSO4, that is the gypsum, into the non-soluble salts or deposited salts onto the surface, and by converting into soluble salts and taking it through the drain out of the farm. Then the treatment by mulching. What is mulching? Mulching is nothing but spreading certain kind of cover onto the surface of waterlogged area. You could spread. Mulching can either be organic, inorganic. In first, organic, such as grass. You are spreading grass, grass clippings, then straw, then bark chips, and similar material. Anything which is there onto the farm, if we spread out onto the waterlogged area or moist area, then there won't be more evaporation. So that is one of the thing. Second, inorganic, we could also lay stone, brick, chips, etc. And we could even cover it through plastic material so that there is a lesser evaporation. Lesser evaporation means lesser formation of the salts onto the surface of earth. It involves covering the affected land with a covering of soil. Covering of soil, that is called mulch and mulching to reduce the evaporation losses. So that is what mulching process, very simple process. These are very costly and time consuming. I don't take this because we are running out of time. Take one more slide, which is there. This is last slide, so that we could cover it in time. Water logging. These are the methods. When we look at the cause in detail, then in the causes of water logging, we could look into the prevention of preventive measures for the water logging. Reducing percolation from the irrigation channels. Lining channels is that those channels which are not lined yet, which are there, like Rajasthan Canal, we could propose to the government set up or different NGOs or say world agencies to line up the channels. It requires hundreds of crore, 500 crore, 1000 crore of rupees for lining. For irrigation, say Narmada lining only consumed 8,000 crore rupees for RCC lining. But it's okay. We have to, because we can't say that we allow the land to be waterlogged. 4% of land which is irrigated is waterlogged is too much. Against that, this 500 crore is nothing. So lining of channel can be suggested, lowering of full supply level. When the channel is not fully lined, so if we reduce the full supply level in the channels or say canal or field channels, so that also reduces the percolation. Providing intercepted drains where waterlogging is taking place, we provide intercepting drains like and which collect the the sipping water, like drainage gallery in the gravity dams. So drainage gallery is kind of intercepting drain. Here we are providing directly into the earth below, say 5 feet or 6 feet a drainage. It can be open to the surface or it can be running down into the ground. So that depends upon design. Reducing percolation from the water courses and field. Reducing percolation from water courses and field. Lining of field channels, pipe flow, we can think that we are not going for open flow in the farms and fields. Reducing irrigation intensity is could be a solution. Encouraging economic use of water, say going for drip irrigation or a sprinkler irrigation, not a flooding type of irrigation facility. So that is capacity building of farmers, that you go for a sprinkler irrigation, you go for drip irrigation. Government are promoting such things by providing subsidies. You might be surprised to understand why government give subsidies. That is what is the reason here. If we provide subsidy to the drip system, then what will happen? Ultimately, government is saving land. That is a precious resource for the country and contributing to the GDP of country. So government generally promotes such schemes like solar panels to the homes or houses and buildings. Say at reduced 80% reduction in the price of solar panels. Likewise, drip is also subsidized. Sprinklers are also subsidized. So these policy changes in the government setup is also an economical. Many times in long run it becomes economical solution. Encouraging outflow from the groundwater reservoir. This is called conjunctive use. Mind it here, you might have learned it already somewhere, that what is conjunctive in hydrology, in the water resources and fluid mechanics also you might have heard and learned the conjunctive use of water, that we balance the aquifer. Water is there into aquifer. When water table is rising, we go for say the groundwater irrigation rather than applying the all surface irrigation. So the aquifer balancing, pumping groundwater is one of the solution. Providing a drainage system, improving the natural drainage of the area. So this is the increasing outflow from the groundwater resources or reservoirs.